has been a popular destination for U.S. governors on trade missions. So far this year, there has been more than a dozen U.S. governors who went to China to pursue Chinese investment. Today, we're going to meet Connecticut Governor Malloy, who recently went to China to rekindle the relationship between his state and China. So you led this 8-day trade mission to China, and it was the first time in 25 years for a Connecticut governor to visit China. Why China and why now?
An opportunity came about for me to put this trip to China together with another function that I was going to attend in China, which was the World Economic Forum summer meeting, which takes place in China. And I had been to China myself in my capacity as mayor of Stamford, Connecticut, 10 years before. We put this whole trip together really to reinvigorate our relationship with our province, sister province, but also to introduce ourselves to China, to various marketplaces and industries within China.
And Shandong established this sister state relationship with Connecticut about 25 years ago. Yeah. So now it's time to pick this up?
Well, yeah, it's not that it has been not attended to, but no governor had made the trip. We've exchanged, we've had delegations go back and forth. We send folks to the province from time to time in commerce exchanges. But I felt that to further the relationship and to invigorate it, I needed, as a representative of the people of Connecticut, to visit our sister province. And I was very happy and proud to do it. And I think we had some very fruitful discussions.
And what impressed you most since you visited last time 10 years ago?
Well, I think the sheer size of the infrastructure investment in roads and bridges, in facilities. When I was at the World Economic Forum, that whole community is really quite amazing. I mean, all of this is really quite stupendous, and really, I think, bodes well for continued growth in the Chinese economy.
One of the things you did on the trip was to attend the World Economic Forum in Tianjin, and I read you were on a panel about energy.
I did say while I was on the panel that North America soon will be energy independent, that between natural gas finds, oil production, alternative energy, and hydroelectric out of Canada, we're going to get to a point where we really don't need energy from other continents. China, my point of view is that China too needs to get to move as rapidly as it can in that direction for the good and of its own economy. However, there's no doubt that the further use and production of energy in China is having adverse impacts currently on the environment. To visit Beijing is to understand what the burning of coal can mean to an environment. China is making great strides in so many areas, but this energy issue is going to be a challenge for decades to come.
This year alone, there has been a number of U.S. governors who visit China, pursue investment, or simply to enhance the relationship between the state and the country. So for Connecticut, what is this specific goal that your state yourself wanted to achieve for the visit?
Well, our national governments have encouraged provinces and states to introduce themselves to one another. What we're trying to get out of it, I think, is exactly what China is trying to get out of it, and that is to understand the possibilities in one another's economy for working together, for sharing, for profiting by relationships. It's clear that China needs to diversify its investment portfolio, and it is a policy of your government to see that happen. And if dollars are going to go abroad to diversify that portfolio, I would like some number of those dollars to come to our state to help build our infrastructure. I think both countries are trying to expand the number of people who have not only familiarity but a comfort with making investments in one another's country.
So what kind of opportunities there might be for Chinese investors here?
Well, Connecticut is a good place to invest, I think, with Chinese dollars. We have a very strong educational infrastructure. Connecticut has tremendous strength in aerospace industry. We have 177 companies that are primarily aerospace manufacturers, with a total of about 300 companies that are involved in aerospace engineering and manufacturing. That's a great base, particularly as China looks to build out its own aviation and modernize its own aviation fleet. So there are great possibilities for exchange. We need to be there.
There has been a series of moves done by the administration on the ordering tariffs on imported Chinese solar panels, and the president blocked a Chinese investment in Oregon. Some are worried about this concerning the Chinese investment sentiment, like investors have sort of faith in investing here.
There is also this growing understanding in China that if we're going to get this relationship to an even higher place, that there's got to be more respect on both countries' part with respect to one another's laws. And there is some sensitivity in both countries, and I think it's deserved around the issue of technologies that can be used in the defense industry and for the manufacture of products that relate to one another's national interests. That's a relatively small area of investment, but I think that in those kinds of investments, I think the Chinese government has a right to understand what the United States intentions are, and I think the United States government has a right to understand what Chinese intentions are in those industries. This dialogue is absolutely going to continue, and we will continue to send delegations there, and we will continue to receive delegations here. When I get to China next, I can't tell you, but it's an important relationship.